another really remarkable observation that a bunch of expats had given me the moment that I moved to Tokyo, because I developed friendships and relationships with a bunch of the different foreigners that were there, because when you move to such a different region, you always try to get either with the Europeans or other Americans, Canadians, or Aussies. Everybody didn't know everybody else, and they all had this same thing that they wanted to tell me, and that's that you can never live in another country after living in Japan. Like, you need to be sure that you absolutely want to do this. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what does that mean? And and this goes back to, as people know my show, I'm a fan of several scholars, and one of them is the Professor Robert Sapolsky. And it's the work in neuroscience about how the brain craves, peacefulness, the perception of safety, calm, everything works. It's just clean, And so I was like, yeah, you're full of shit. I didn't realize that it was cleverly getting into my subconscious of how much I was craving peaceful serenity, and how markedly bad the West really is. It took, I think after like a couple years, it took me traveling back into Europe or to the United States to realize the insanity. Like the screaming kids, the barking dogs at every place, like the loud hip hop, it doesn't matter. Parties until 3 a.m. You can't think, you can't get anything done. When I first came, back to Europe, and then I went back briefly to the US, it's like and I kid you not, I have the videos of it because it frustrated me so much. I'd say 60% of the escalators in SFO, San Francisco Airports, San Francisco International, were down. They didn't work. You went into the city, mass homelessness, opioid epidemic, violent gun death. Like, it's just like, what you realize is the advantages to your life when you live in peaceful environments where it's not graffiti laden, just filth, potholes, just disgusting shit everywhere. And I just got used. So, I was telling this lady that, I've been coming to Europe for such a long time because I had to localize it at a very young age. So I don't know how many times I've been here, and I never noticed, like, everything seemed completely normal to me. The cobblestone streets, the Token Cathedral. Oh, that's pretty interesting. That's cool. But now, after living in Japan, dilapidated, filthy, the streets are all uneven and disgusting. Everybody and their brother's got a dog, a barking, shitting dog, everything. Hey, welcome to Europe. Here's your dog. It's the same way in the US. It is truly like two different species when you get from Japan, the peaceful serenity of that, and you fly back into the West. It's like a gap, a giant chasm that exists between our species. And it's, we're the same, we're the same species. But anyway, to make a long story short, my colleagues were absolutely right. Now that I've come back into the West, I enjoy the surfing and the sailing and stuff, but there is nothing like living in a super clean, super modern, advanced, so safe. You're not worried about even petty crime. You can leave your I went grocery shopping one time with, left my laptop in a cafe in Tokyo. Like, no one, I just got used to that. I remember my colleagues saying, we can't get it in our brain. Like, that's like a weird Western brain thing. Like, where there's virtually no theft there. Like, I don't understand why we're the same species and we can't get this in the West. And anyway, I think people would enjoy it more to live in a very serene, peaceful society, because not only can you get a lot of stuff done, like you can think of new innovations and whatever, engineering, new poetry, new story, like whatever you're working on. There is no distractions. When I lived, when I lived in Japan, even at night in Tokyo by 11, my neighborhood in Shibuya, it's like, well, I mean, I could hear the sounds of like cello and violin, because you got every grade school kid there is like a pianist and a cellist and like you open your window at night in a neighborhood in Tokyo and you hear classical music being studied, just a different way.